Susan Lawler. I'm a Garda in Pearse Street Garda Station and I'm a member of the Community Policing Unit.
My name is Mark Walsh. I'm a community guard policing the B district, which is the Pearse Street area.
As Community Gardaí, we are the people who the local residents can come to if they have a problem that they may not want to come to the Garda station to speak about. We always like to think that we're approachable. We'll always try and stop and talk to people. We'll also go to local events, get involved with local individuals or organisations. So say, for example, if a guard comes to your school, chances are they are from the community policing office in your local station.
Our job is to get to know people in the locality. It's very important they get to see a familiar face, a face that they trust, and they can approach you, speak to you in a normal manner. They know me as a guard, but they also know me as just Mark.
With kids at a younger age, particularly if they haven't had the same opportunities as other children, they may be slightly more likely to go down a path where they make mistakes and they do wrong things. But if we know these kids and we already interact with them, we can always try and talk to them, speak to them, give them a bit of advice, or I suppose even tell them what might happen further down the line if they were to continue to make mistakes or to commit crimes.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle.
My favourite way of getting around is on the mountain bike. When we stop and speak to people, it means that we don't have to get out of a car or a van, and we're not looking down on people when we're talking to them because we're at the same height. We also have segways in the station.
They're easy to use once you know how to use them.
They're a bit of fun. They usually come out for particular events, maybe for St. Patrick's Day or when it's busy on Grafton Street.
They're used for high visibility patrol, which means people can see us. I'm 5'10". The Segway adds another 4 inches to my height, so we can see over people's heads.
They can be very, very good and useful if, for example, a child has gone missing on Grafton Street and they can't find their parents. Because we're so tall, people will be able to see us and we're more likely to be able to see them too.
It's a different time and our priorities have changed a bit. I suppose what we're trying to do now is help the vulnerable.
We have people that we call into regularly to check if they're okay, to just have a chat and a conversation so that they see a friendly face. But we're also delivering medication and delivering meals.
We have lists of people that we try to call into on a daily basis just to make sure they're okay.
Oh, hello, Gar. How are you? Great to see you.
The most important thing is that we want to know that everybody's okay, and we want them to know that if they need anything, that they can contact us at any time at all.
It's just amazing to see lovely ladies and a big 6'2" arriving at your door. Can I help you? Oh, yes. It means that somebody cares. And that is so important, for somebody to care and to ask you how you are and what you need. Can we do anything? It's great company.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Thanks a million.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. It's a very rewarding career. It's very enjoyable when you get to help people and see a smile on their face.
Every day in here is different, and I absolutely love what I do. It's something that you think you want to do, I would definitely go for it.
My name is Tony McAvoy. I'm a firefighter paramedic at Dublin Fire Brigade. It's an exciting job. It's a red truck, you know, blue lights, sirens. You don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next, but that's what makes it an exciting job. It's not an ordinary job. In Tara Street here, we have the 2 pumps, or what we call 2 fire engines in the station. We have the 2 ladders, and we have the environmental unit. So in Dublin Fire Brigade, we're all firefighters and paramedics. So what that means is, today you could be on the fire engine, tomorrow you could be on the ambulance. Here's an ambulance coming in now. I say in Dublin Fire Brigade we have ambulances. In this station we have 2 of them. Our ones are yellow, red and white, and you might see the other National Ambulance Service are green and yellow. They do the same thing. We're all paramedics, but the reason ours are red is because we're the fire brigade. We have to keep them red. Looks a lot better, I think. When you dial 999 or 112 and the crews in the control room take the call, the bells go off in the station. The lads come down the stairs or come down the pole, into their fire gear, onto the fire engine or the ambulance, and that can be done in under a minute and a half. So it's very, very quick. Most of the fire service in the country are part-time. What they are is basically painters, decorators, they work in shops. And what they do is they have a pager, and when the pager goes off, they would go to the fire station and they would go out in the motor, do that particular incident, come back, and they go back to their full-time job. I really enjoy it. And you ask any firefighter, any paramedic, they do it because they enjoy it. And it's so varied. We have plans here in the fire station. If we're going out, you can put plans in place at home. I know, unfortunately, at the moment, we're all at home and you're probably getting a bit bored at this stage, but your smoke alarms, you know those things on the ceiling that your parents put up there years ago and you've forgotten about, and it goes beep the odd time, that's your smoke alarm. It's telling you something. It's saying, hello, don't forget me, my battery's going flat. So check your smoke alarms now while you're at home. Make sure they're working, and if they're not, replace them, get them sorted, because smoke alarms absolutely save lives, no question about it. As firefighters, it's open to men and women, boys and girls. Basically, if you can pass the tests, you can get in. So what I'll say to you is, at home, if you're into sports, keep up your sports, do the sports. So if you can imagine being in a team, working together in football with your coach, knowing your team, what you're going to do, relying on those teammates, that's the important thing. When I'm in work here, I work with a team or a crew. I absolutely trust them with my life. I know 100% that they will look after me. And that's the trust that we have. And that's teamwork. That's what happens when you're a part of a good team. It's a fantastic career. And hopefully, maybe when you get a bit older, you might think about it, because I would absolutely recommend it.
My name is Lieutenant Helen Meredith. I've been in the Irish Naval Service for 12 years and I am the Fisheries Officer on board the Ellie William Butler Yeats. And my next appointment will be the Executive Officer of the William Butler Yeats, which is the second in command of the ship. There's no such thing as a normal day in the Defence Forces or the Irish Naval Service, but when you're at anchor alongside, you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you'd have your breakfast and make sure that everything is set up for the day, and then what we do is we'd raise the flag, conduct a flag ceremony. So at 5 to 8 we would ensure that the duty PO and the officer of the day are both present. The flag is raised and the officer salutes the flag as the flag goes up. And so we've got different types of weapon systems on board. The main weapon that we have is the 76 Autumn Alera, so that's quite a big weapon. Each of the rounds, as we call them, instead of bullets, each of the rounds would be roughly about 7 kgs in weight, so it would be about a stone in weight, and you can fire 85 of those rounds in 1 minute. We've never fired the main armament here in any form of anger. It was for practice that we've been doing it to keep the crew up to date on how to fire the weapon. The ship was commissioned in 2016, so it's 4 years old. It's the second newest ship in the fleet. Function is primarily security. The state is part of the Defence Forces, so we would make sure that there's no threats to our national security. We would patrol all of Irish waters, and sometimes we would go overseas as well to assist with missions or to make visits to other countries. I joined the Naval Reserve when I was 17 years old. My best friend Anya got involved and she asked me to get involved with her. So we both joined, both went to sea. She got terribly seasick and she lasted a good week at sea before she was too sick and came home, whereas I really enjoyed it. I have been seasick the first week that I was at sea ever.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat,
I was very, very sick and I thought it was never going to end.
don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat.
The worst feeling is that you can't get off the ship. A lot of our time at sea is spent off the west coast of Ireland. We can be up to 200 miles or even more off the west coast, and weather there isn't always the best. The Atlantic is quite rough when it wants to be.
Rock the boat, rock on. Rock the boat, rock on.
But once you get used to it, then it can be exciting, and then because of the exercises and everything that we do every day, everybody knows that they're safe, and it becomes a lot of fun.
Rock the boat. Rock the boat.
My favourite thing about the Naval Service is definitely the people. At the moment we've got 55 people on board, so there's 2 girls and 53 males at the moment. But you're always made feel the exact same as everybody else here, so it's not as hard a job as what people might think, and most women can do just as much as any other of the males. Any girl can join the Defence Forces, any girl can join the Naval Service, and they can do it very well. And there's no difference, there's no segregation when you're a girl in the Defence Forces. I really enjoy the element of being at sea. I love being at sea. You do get to do a lot of different elements. For me, I've done humanitarian missions, which have always been very rewarding for myself, and you know, it's challenging every day, it changes every day, and if you're not after an office job or the standard job, then it's something that's different, it's very rewarding, and you get to do a lot of work that you mightn't ordinarily get to do, and you do get to help people, you do get to see different areas of the world. It's definitely a career that's very rewarding and definitely a career that's different. Highly recommend it to anybody that might have an interest in it.
In the Navy, yes, you can sail the 7 seas. In the Navy, yes, you can put your mind at ease.
Paul Milan is my name. I'm a bus driver of a bus here for the last 20 years, operating out of Waterford. I love driving. Some people find it monotonous. I love driving. It doesn't bother me. I can drive 10 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles. Doesn't wear me out. I enjoy it. I suppose it's like the old saying, if you find a job you love, you'll never work again.
If this bus could talk,
You get to travel the countryside, see some beautiful scenery.
all the stories he could tell. If this bus could talk,
They're getting paid to see it, and it's one of the advantages of being a driver of any description is travelling around, seeing beautiful pieces of Ireland, some magnificent routes. When you travel through, it's different. Every day is different. To drive a bus, you need to be a people person. It's not just the driving of the bus. You need to be able to communicate with people. You need to be comfortable with people, and you meet a lot of nice people out there. It's rewarding, you know. People would certainly know my first name, and I would know their name. Travelling on regular routes, you'd meet the same people at the same time. They'd have the banter with you. They'd let you know if you're running a little bit late, but it's all fun at the end of the day. You make friends. You make friends in this business, and you make friends for life. At the current times, the services are crucial to a lot of people trying to get to work. essential travel, and a lot of people in rural towns and villages need to be travelling for appointments, hospital appointments, and a lot of people don't have transport, so people are really appreciative. I'm meeting people on the road and they're appreciated that they can get transport when it's needed. Kids, like, you can see the smile on their face, they always say hello to you. We have a route in Waterford, it goes to the seaside and there's double deckers on it. And you can see the kids rushing upstairs to try and get up to their front seats. I presume they're up there pretending that they are driving the buses themselves. All kids, they love dinkies, toys when they're playing, and I've done the same myself. That's what you do, you pretend, you play with a toy and you pretend that it's the big thing.
Oh, the wheels on the bus go round and round and round and round and round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round and round and round and round. Oh, the wheels on the bus go round and round.
It's very achievable for boys or girls.
The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long.
Bus Éireann have a lot of male drivers, but we have female drivers as well. You're not going to learn how to drive a bus in one day, but you go through the process. You get your provisional licence, you get your car licence, you get your provisional bus licence, and so on. And just training, I suppose it's the same as school, same as any kind of sport, any kind of job. The more you train, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
Hi, I'm Samantha, and I'm a heavy vehicle apprentice mechanic for Bus Éireann. Daily, we do running maintenance and services, so it'll be similar to a service on your car, but more regular. We are a working running garage, so it is a very busy garage. It can be quite noisy at times. There's always something to learn, so it's good fun. So as you can see behind me, we do have big holes, what we call pits, in the ground. That's so when the buses drive over, we can get easy access to the underside of the bus. So it's very much like getting your car serviced, getting your oil change, your filter changes. You know, what your mechanic might do with your mum and dad's car at home is exactly what we do in here, just on a larger scale and more frequent. Tyres, like the tyres on your car, you might change them every 6 months to a year, but because our buses are constantly running all the time, we would change them much more regularly. It's not as simple, it is a big job. The principle is exactly the same, and there's a tool for every job. So if I had any advice for anybody, if you can't pull it, push it, or kick it, don't move it on your own. Always ask for help. I've always had an interest in mechanics. My dad is a technician by trade, so I've always been around working machinery. I love motorbikes and classic cars. So if there wasn't a lawnmower to fix or a strimmer to fix or some sort of engine in the shed to pull apart, my weekends were spent in the shed or in the garage or pulling something apart anyway. The office was just not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in the workshop, pulling things apart. When I first started my apprenticeship, the majority of people thought I was a driver, and they didn't think that I was a HGV apprentice. I'm the only female on the garage floor, but I would love to see more girls try and come through with the apprenticeship mechanics. Not just in here, but there's loads and loads of other trades that you can do too. Just because it looks big doesn't mean that you can't do it. Every day is a different day, so every day is a school day, so it's home. It's where I call home.
Hi, my name name is Aisling and I'm a children's nurse at Children's Health Ireland in Crumlin. And you might have known us as Our Lady's Children's Hospital in Crumlin. But now all the children's hospitals have come together as one good team, and we're called Children's Health Ireland, because people from all over the country come to the hospital to get help and to make themselves good and healthy again. I began nursing at a very young age, so when I was in school, like yourselves in primary school, I loved to help people. I always loved to help my classmates, and I also loved to help out at home. I have an auntie called Fiona, and Fiona has a condition called cerebral palsy, or CP for short. So with this, Fiona's right side of her body just doesn't work as well as her left side of her body. So she needs help with walking, and when I was a child, maybe as young as you or maybe even younger, I used to help. And this showed me that I loved helping people and caring for others who needed help. So when I went into transition year at age 16, my mammy and I were talking and she thought, Aisling, I think you'd make a good nurse. So I decided to do a 1-week work experience in my local hospital. And surprise, surprise, I loved it. And that made me want to become a nurse even more. So I decided I want to become a children's nurse because children are fantastic. They're resilient and they're so much fun. And now that's where I work in St. Michael's Ward in the Children's Hospital. At the moment in the hospital, you're only allowed to have one visitor with you, and this can be a parent or a guardian. And this is because we have strict visiting rules. So you might not be able to come in, but I will.
Hey, pretty smiling people, we're all right together, we're all right together.
Please wash your hands because it's really important, especially when this virus is around. I know it's super hard not being in school and not seeing all your friends, but you're doing a great job by staying at home, and it's really helping me, and it's keeping me safe, and it's keeping you safe. When I arrive into work, I hear about all the patients who are in with us, and we hear about what they need and why they're here and what we need to do to make them get better. We get everyone started ready for the day, so we get up and we get ready, and then we might have a few tests done and the doctors come, and then maybe if it's a weekday we might have a bit of school. So the school here in Crumlin is still going on, but we do it virtually, kind of like you're doing here at home. So the teachers will talk to the patients through their iPad maybe or on their phone, and they do all their fun subjects that they usually do at school. But they're also really lucky, they get to watch this fantastic programme too. So I want to say hello and thanks to all the Moontours, Moontour Ray, Moontour John and Moontour Kalina. And all the boys and girls here in Crumlin have been watching the programme too, just like you at home. So being a nurse, it's so much fun, and it really is a privilege because we're so lucky here that we get to see people grow up. Now, I'm only a nurse for a short time, so I've only seen children growing for a little over a year. But my older nurses that I work with have seen children growing from being a toddler all the way up to being a teenager, because we get children coming in throughout their whole childhood. And this is fantastic, so we get to really get to know them, and we get to know their families, and we get to know everything about them, which is so good. And they get to know us too. We're almost like a little family. And we get to take care of them, and we see them get better, which is just fantastic.
This is Imelda, our specialist nurse.
Hi, my name is Imelda and I'm a clinical nurse specialist in haemophilia.
This is our occupational therapist.
Hi, my name is Kathy. I'm one of the occupational therapists in Crumlin.
And this is one of our physiotherapists.
Hi, my name is Eva and I'm a physiotherapist.
Hi, I'm Sinead.
Hi, I'm Elaine.
So since being a nurse, I've been lucky enough to have lots of boys and girls work with me. It's not just for girls. So everyone can be a nurse, even you at home if you want to be.
Hello to all our patients on St. Michael's Ward.